Right now, wherever you are, there is probably a sound you've stopped noticing. A hum, a fan, traffic somewhere far off. Your brain has been filtering it out for so long, you forgot it was there. But if that sound vanished completely, right now, your body would not relax. It would panic. Why? You'd think silence should feel like relief. Your ancestors didn't have air conditioners or notification pings, so true silence should feel like coming home. It doesn't. Put most people in a soundproof room for 20 minutes and something strange happens. They start to hear their own heartbeat. Some start to hallucinate faint sounds that aren't there. Your brain, faced with nothing to listen to, starts inventing something. Why would evolution build a brain that can't tolerate the one condition it evolved in? Here's the real answer. Silence was never actually silent. Not for your ancestors, not for any animal that survived long enough to reproduce. A forest at rest is never quiet. Insects click. Wind moves through branches in a pattern your brain learned before you understood words. True silence almost never occurred in nature. And when it did, it usually meant one thing. Something was wrong. A sudden drop in background noise in the wild was often the first sign of a predator. Birds go quiet. The forest holds its breath right before something moves. Your nervous system still remembers that pattern. Total silence doesn't register as peace. It registers as a warning. That's why a soundproof room feels unsettling instead of calming. Your brain is scanning for the threat silence used to predict. When it can't find one, it generates phantom signals just to fill the gap. But here's where it gets strange. The same silence that triggers alarm in short bursts does something remarkable over longer periods. In 2013, researcher Imke Kierste studied how different sounds affected mice. White noise, pup calls, music, silence, then measured what happened in the hippocampus, the brain's memory center. Silence was supposed to be the boring control. It wasn't nothing. 2 hours of silence, and only silence, triggered new neuron growth in the hippocampus. Not the music. The silence. The absence of stimulation gave the brain room to build. You do this too. Ever have your best ideas in the shower? On a walk with no music? That's not about the shower. It's about the absence of input. Your brain, freed from competing for attention, starts doing something it rarely gets to do. It starts talking to itself. Neuroscientist Marcus Reichel discovered a network that only activates when you're not focused on a task, when you're daydreaming. He called it the default mode network. It handles self-reflection and connecting old memories to new ideas. It goes quiet the instant you introduce noise, a screen, anything demanding attention, which raises a question. If your best thinking happens in silence, and modern life has almost none left, what are you losing every day? In 2006, physician Luciano Bernardi studied how music affects the cardiovascular system. He expected the calming music to relax people most. Instead, the biggest relaxation happened during the pauses between musical segments, not the soothing pieces. The silence between them. Silence wasn't the gap between the real experiment. It was the most powerful part of it. So here's what happens inside you when real silence shows up. First, a flicker of alarm, an ancient scan for the threat silence used to signal. Then, if nothing appears, something shifts. Neurons that were reacting to the world start building instead. Your brain, freed from monitoring input, does the maintenance work it's been postponing all day. Modern life has engineered this out of existence. Every space you occupy has been filled. Music, notifications, a podcast playing while you do something else. You weren't designed for constant sound. You were designed to survive brief, threat-signaling silence and to grow inside long, uninterrupted stretches of it, which brings you back to that hum you stopped noticing. Every sound you don't remove is a small tax on the part of your brain that only comes alive in its absence. You could turn it off right now, just long enough to let the alarm pass and the other system take over. Long enough to find out what your brain builds when you stop giving it something to listen to. The sound you stopped noticing was never really the background. It was the thing standing between you and your own mind.